I'd rather be than here, that's for sure.
We had 85 closings yesterday.
That's impressive.
And 39 went under contract yesterday, and 70 went under contract on Tuesday. I wrote down Wednesday, but it was Tuesday. So we've had 109 go under contract in the last 2 days and 85 closings. So that's good. That's good. And today when I announced our show, when I was walking, I said that you were going to talk to us about the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Remember?
Yep, I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay. Just want everybody to know that don't forget your gloves and your mask, and they really do help. So go ahead, Jimmy.
Well, I think the gloves and the mask help us keep us from catching it and keep us from spreading it. So the
Right.
mask keeps us from spreading it. The gloves keep us from catching it. So they're both critical tools for us right now. I don't know, has anybody tried to even buy some gloves or a mask? I bought some gloves at Walmart the other day, but I didn't see any masks. So I don't know if you can actually buy masks right now anywhere. Can you? Do you know?
I don't know. There's a small store on Charleston and around Decatur on the south side of the street, tucked away in a shopping center, that has medical supplies. John went there when he had to get some medical supplies before his operation, and they had gloves and masks there. They upped the price the last time John went, though, to get us some, but I think they're like $20 for 20 of them, about $1 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they have
the airlines have been practicing dynamic prices, and the hotels have been practicing dynamic prices for a long time. Morning, Leslie. Good to see you.
Oh, hi, Karen. Good morning. Good morning. And let's see, we've got Leslie with us. We've got Karen with us, and Lynette. We got Lynette this morning. Good, Lynette. Good morning. All righty. Well, let's get started.
Okay, Ruthie, I sent you a document called Are You on Fire to your email this morning. So if anybody wants it, they can either email you or me, or Kane can send it out to our attendees. That would be good. My source for this information is Brian Buffini and Tony Schwartz. They came out with the project, Energy Project, and it's a 6 CD set. I think you can still buy it from Buffini and Company, or you might be able to find a used set on eBay or somewhere. But it's definitely worth listening to. I listen to it frequently over and over again because the message is so powerful. And the 6 CDs are broken down to different topics. But one of them starts out at the very beginning. It talks about, are you on fire? And it's an assessment of where you are. And they talk about facing the truth. And here's what they say. They say there are 4 dimensions of energy. And they're saying energy management, not time management, is the key to success. How are you managing your energy? And we know that energy is a combination of your rest, your exercise, and your diet. And it's in that order. Your rest, if you don't rest well, it can mess up everything else. In fact, you can die from a lack of sleep faster than you can die from a lack of food. So rest comes first. And then is your diet fueling you or causing you to be more lethargic? What are you putting in your body? And then exercise. Movement is what keeps us healthy. Your lymph system has 3 times as much fluid as your blood system. And your heart pumps your blood, but nothing pumps your lymph system except for movement. You have to exercise and move. If it's walking or just doing some type of Tabata HIIT workout, whatever you do, something every single day. But let me get into the Are You on Fire? The 4 dimensions of energy are physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. If you're not physically able, the rest of this stuff really goes out the window. So your physical body is a really important thing to look at. And when they talk about this physical part, they say rate yourself in 3 areas. One is your level of fitness, one is your diet and nutrition, and one is your rest and recovery. So I've already talked about that. Fitness is the ability to recover. Your level of fitness is how quickly you recover. That's how you measure fitness. If I exert myself, how quickly do I recover? That's how fit I am. So when we talk about level of fitness, we're talking about recovery time. Diet and nutrition, I'm not going to even talk about that. And rest and recovery, I can't help you with your rest and recovery, but just be aware that's a component of your physical energy. The second thing is your emotional. Are you on fire emotionally? And they talk about 4 things here. Number 1, your optimism. Number 2, your resilience. Number 3, your gratitude and joy. And number 4, your connection to others or your intimacy. We are one body. The human race is one body. And when you disconnect yourself from that one body, either your friends or your family or whatever, you shrivel and you regress. So here's the question. If someone that you know was asked about your emotional health, what score would they give you? You might give yourself an 8 or 9 emotionally, but others that observe you from outside, and it's very hard to self-diagnose. But the idea here is to take an assessment, face the truth. Where are you at with these things, and what do you need to do about it? So that's the first two, physical and emotional. The mental and spiritual, if you want to, Ruthie, we can get into those as well. But I don't want to give people too much. It's like taking a sip from a fire hose. Sometimes there's a lot of content here. And I know you have some other things you want to talk about, and I do as well. There's something I read last night and this morning I want to talk about that I think is impacting, that can cause people to have the wrong mindset.
Yes, so we'll go ahead with a little bit of spiritual. I think that we all need a little bit of spiritual right now.
Okay. On spiritual, they say give yourself a score from 1 to 10 on spiritual, or give yourself the 4 S's: survival, stability, success, or significance. And I'm not going to get into that. But when they talk about spiritual, they talk about your connection to your values and your purpose. I'm re-listening to The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, and day 19 is a mind blower. It's 40 days of service, 40 days of reading, 40 days of research, and each day you're supposed to get some lesson out of it. And if you can get the book,
what's the name of it?
A Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren. It's a very spiritual exercise. And the first line of the book says, it's not about you. And I think that's just a profound way to start a book. I'm going to read a book about self-improvement, and it's not about you. Oh my goodness. But on spiritual, he talks about being passionate. Are you filled with passion when you come in the room? Can people tell? Are you aligned with your beliefs and your values and your moral codes? Are you aligned? Are you purposeful? And are you connected to something bigger than yourself? And that's all part of spiritual. Are you connected to something bigger than yourself? The difference between success and significance: success is about you, significance is about other people. What are you doing with other people? And Brian Buffini talks about this stuff. I just can't say enough about how much I like Brian Buffini's approach to everything. And we've talked about his podcast and what's on there. This one you have to go a little deeper to get. It's not on the surface with Buffini. You got to look for this one. It's called the Pathway to Mastery. Not that. I'll think of it in a second. Are You on Fire?
That's Buffini's.
Yeah, it's The Energy Project. Tony Schwartz and Brian Buffini. I suppose if you search those two together, Tony Schwartz and Brian Buffini, you might come up with it. It's a 6 CD set, very powerful, worth every penny. Whatever you have to pay for, it's worth every penny. And it talks about habits in there. Ritual is just another word for habit. What rituals, what habits do you have, and how do you develop those? And this is the time for us to be working on our habits, I think, right now.
Is that how you spell Schwartz?
I think it's SCH.
Okay.
But that's pretty close. I think the internet will correct you if your auto correct or auto mistake or whatever they call that thing.
Right.
Auto incorrect. Good morning, okay. Alina. Good to see you.
Yes. Hi, Alina. So we went physical, emotional,
mental, and spiritual.
Okay. And mental, you addressed mental yet?
No, mental would be your focus and your ability to be open-minded. Somebody who's strong mentally can accept other people's point of view and realize that for them, that's how they see the world. And for you to be open-minded enough to accept other people's opinions, that's part of wisdom. And so that's part of the mental thing. And focus, how long can you really stay engaged in something and make progress? That drunk monkey that we always talk about. Your ability to focus is part of your mental fitness.
Yes, focus is huge. Yeah, being a taskmaster in our business is almost essential.
And this is why you and I only keep these talks at 20 or 25 minutes or less, because people can only focus for so long on one thing. Same with your clients and customers and prospects.
So what do you want to talk about next?
Well, one of my agents sent me an article last night about Zoom. She said, my brother's a techie and he's questioning the security levels of Zoom. And I've talked about this before, but if you're using Google as a search engine, Google's tracking everything that you search. If you have a cell phone, the cell phone is listening to you all the time. If you have a big screen TV that you bought in the last 2 years, it's watching you even when it's not on. Right. So somebody's always watching you. And the article came out from TechCrunch on the 31st, so 2 days ago. and as a guy named Zach Whitaker, and he raises several questions about Zoom and the security, and that Zoom, there's a thing called Zoom bombing where they actually take control of the host and they put all kinds of graphic content on the Zoom, and there's people that are doing this kind of stuff, and it's a risk that we run if we're using Zoom. And he says the attendees list is not protected. If you're in a Zoom meeting and somebody else is in there, they have a way to get that attendee list. So I don't care if people know I'm on this broadcast with you, Ruthie. I'm proud of the fact that we're trying to do something right. And if people want to take that attendance, that's fine. I don't care. But what was interesting to me was that was the 31st. The next day, April 1st, there was another, I subscribed to the newsletters at Big Think. And there was an article on Big Think that almost totally copied the TechCrunch article. And it didn't say who wrote the TechCrunch article. So I'm thinking, here's a respected source. To me, it's a respected source. Big Think is a respected source. And they're copying something that they found on the internet. Now, there's a picture in the Big Think article. If you click on when you hover over the picture, the little finger shows up. And if you click on that, it gives you the entire article and it credits where it came from. And it tells who wrote it. And it's very, very deep. It's very deep. And it talks about a thing called The Intercept. And that's where the report first came out, was on The Intercept, and that's where the guys from TechCrunch got it. So you go all the way back, and one of the comments is about virtual private networks. It's encrypting from end to end. And on February 16th, ZDNet reported there's a thing called a Clear Sky report, and some of the major VPN networks were hacked. So whatever you're doing online, whatever you're doing on your phone, somebody's going to see it. So just do things that you're proud of, and then you don't have to hide. Because I don't think you can hide. I don't think you can. I think if you signed up for Facebook, if you signed up for, any type of Google searches, they're watching everything you do, even when they're not on. So just do the right thing.
And the purpose is for artificial intelligence. They are learning how people react, what they say to different things, what they watch. It's all about gaining data for artificial intelligence, for the robot age.
And predicting what we're going to buy next. It's all about money. It's predicting what we're going to buy next. Interesting, in the article that I read earlier today, it talked about groups in Iran have been banding together to hack the VPNs, which is something that Arthur said we haven't really seen before. These groups have always been kind of splinter groups. One little guy working in his basement or whatever. Now they're actually collaborating on stuff. And you know about the Black Hat conference they have here in Las Vegas every year. I mean, whatever you do online, you better be proud of it, because people are going to fire it. They're going to find it. Just ask Kevin Hart, and he'll tell you all about it.
Yeah, I love Kevin Hart.
He's awesome.
Yeah. What does that comment in regards to?
Well, he made a comment early in his career that he'd like to host the Oscars at some point. And the people on the Oscars found him and they said, you know what, we'd like you to host the Oscars. And he said, oh man, this is a lifelong dream for me. And I really want to host the Oscars. But then some reporter found something that he had posted on Twitter or somewhere like 15 years before. And they made him apologize. He said, you know what, I'll apologize, but I'm not going to host the Oscars after all. I'm not doing this for you. So somebody who was smart said, where'd this reporter find this stuff? And is the reporter as squeaky clean as that? So they investigated the reporter and they fired the reporter because he had stuff from 10 or 15 years ago. This stuff lasts forever. Whatever you do online, you better be proud of it, because somebody's going to find it and they're going to use it.
Right. That's exactly right. I know Kane and I did we're doing our social media strategy academy this week, and we're doing it live. We're live streaming it, the class. And I mean, we do bloopers, and it's just like, well, it's out there, you know. I think you get this because you're a trainer, instructor, and a motivator, and sometimes our minds work so fast we say the wrong things, and it just cracks me up. You know, Kane will say something, he goes, I didn't mean to say that, and I do it all the time.
Yeah, the blooper reel is half the fun, isn't it?
Pardon me?
The blooper reel is half the fun, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
If you can't have a sense of humor, don't go online. That's all I can say.
Right. And Jimmy, what other words of wisdom do you have today?
Well, I just think that the purpose-driven life, day 19, you can get it from the library for free. The library might be closed, but their electronic resources are open. And if you want to skip ahead to day 19, I think the message for right now is just totally appropriate. I'm on day 20 now, and they say don't listen to more than one a day. So I'm only violating that a little bit. But the day 19 message is really powerful. And I would say, we talked about a Tom Ferry video about focus, and we talked about Brian Buffini. If anything, I also sent you a link to a TEDx talk from a guy named Mike Rayburn from 2009, and he talks about what if. And if you can have Kane send that out, it's an 18-minute video, and on minute number 9, he says something that is just a mind blower. And I'm not going to reveal it on here, but if you can send that link out, they go to TED. It's free. Mike Rayburn, he's a local lad. He's a certified speaking professional, CSP. He does a lot of keynotes all around the world, and he plays a guitar. And the first 2 minutes are him playing the guitar in a very creative way. And he says, you know, who says we can't play the guitar like this? Who says? Why not? And that's what his keynote is about. Why not? Why can't we? And it's, like I said, it's 18 minutes. In minute number, it's actually an hour and a half keynote that he's truncated down to 18 minutes because TED only lets you talk between 18 and 20 minutes. But he's got the best stuff on there. And if you want to go right to the good stuff, you can go to minute number 9 and just watch from there on. It's really phenomenal.
All right. And so you sent me those links, and so we'll post them today. And while people have time, it's a good time to watch these things. And I listened to Tony Robbins this morning a little bit, and he was talking about facing fears, which I know everybody's asking me and you and other people, well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And we don't know what's going to happen, but we have to believe that there is a positive outcome to every day of our lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't live, and we can't live in fear. And Jimmy, Tony Robbins is talking about if you're driving down a highway and there's that yellow line and the cars on the other side of the highway are coming at you at 65 to 85 miles an hour, and you're not afraid that one of them is going to jump that line and kill you, even though 33 people are killed every day in automobile accidents. So we face our fear and we keep driving. Well, we have to keep living too. And I think that one of the big things we need to do right now is to uplift people and to be leaders and to be positive and understand that this too shall pass. And it will, and we'll be better for it. I'm not saying there's not going to be pain as we go through it, but I don't know about you, but I've had some pain in my life and I lived through it, and I'm here today and I'm happy. So we have to believe and we have to have faith, and we have to, on my little short video this morning, I talked about a faithful moment in my life, and we just have to have faith, and when you have faith, you can face your fears. And I have faith that everything is going to come out all right. We're all going to survive. Now, I'm not saying that the reckless people, if they're reckless, but for the most part, most of us are going to survive this. And we just need to be leaders and be strong and face our fears with courage. And it's all up here. You know, we control it, and I don't want to drag people down. I want to pull people up, and I just think that if everybody did that, it would be a better world as we go through this time of uncertainty. So I just wanted to just reinforce that, even though I said it already once this morning. I'm saying it again.
Well, I'd like to see that Anthony Robbins thing. So when you post this stuff, if you put a link to that, I will watch it today because he is inspiring. He's a highly energetic, highly passionate person, and we can learn a lot from him and how he operates. Yes.
Okay, well, Jimmy, it's 22 minutes in. What do you think? Time to wrap it up?
Well, my last words of wisdom, this Ed gets a new cell phone that's in his car. He gets a new car phone, and he's so excited about his new car phone. He's driving home, and he calls Edna, his wife, and says, Edna, he says, listen, he says, I got this car phone. I'm calling you from my car phone. It's so great. And he says, I'm driving my car. I'm calling you from my car phone. And she says, well, that's great, Ed, but I got to tell you, there's a news report right now that said some crazy guy is driving the wrong way on the freeway. He said, crazy guy, there's hundreds of them driving the wrong way on the freeway. So we can't drive the wrong way, and we got to trust the yellow line.
Right, yeah, that's a good way to end. We love everybody and hope to see you tomorrow. What are we going to talk about tomorrow?
We'll think of something.
We'll think of something. There's so much out there, especially I'll watch these things and look into some of the book and so on and so forth that you mentioned today. And what Kane does to these, he revs them so that they're captioned. So you'll get to see on the screen everything that we're saying.
Good.
So, okay.
Thank you, Ruthie.
Thank you, Jimmy. Have a great day.